Hello, people. How are you doing? Welcome back to the RCBian Chelsea Fan TV. Well, first and foremost, I have to say that it was a very sad day yesterday because Christian Eriksen, yes, a sporting personality in Euro 2020, was really badly injured. In fact, it was almost fatal. And my prayers and everyone's prayers, I'm sure, go with Christian Eriksen and his family. I hope he gets well very soon. Along with that, also there was an injury to Faf du Plessis, and I'm hoping that he recovers well as well. I believe that both of them are recovering and hopefully will be back anytime soon. We are crossing our fingers, so let's hope for the best. But you know what? Life goes on, and that is why I'm back as promised with some cricket. Yes, it is time for cricket after a month. Last month has been extremely successful for Chelsea and in football in general, and that is why RCBian Chelsea Fan TV has been covering a lot of football coverage. But now it's time for the big match. Yes, it is the World Test Championship, ICC WTC World Test Championship final, which is going to be held just in 5 days from now. And you know what? It's a 5 day test match with an extra day as well as a reserve day because I'm sure they would like a result in this maiden test championship final, right? So I thought let's discuss about what are the kind of teams that we can expect. That is, of course, India was in New Zealand, but along with me there is someone else as well to discuss this, and it is one of my buddies, who's probably one of the most budding channels in cricket and football, something like what RCB and Chelsea Fan TV also has, and that is something that I'm really glad about. It is Prasanna. So let me introduce Prasanna to you all. Hi, Prasanna.
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಬ್ರೋ, ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದ್ದೀರಾ?
ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದ್ದೀವಿ, ನೀವ್ ಹೆಂಗಿದ್ದೀರಾ?
ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಬ್ರೋ. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're staying home and safe, and hopefully everything is fine.
Yes, absolutely, and I hope same with you. All good?
Yes, all good. Fine. Got vaccinated twice, and I'm staying safe.
Perfect. I'm yet to do that, but yes, great to have you on the channel. As I already said, right, you bring an expertise to both cricket and football, and as we are talking cricket today, I'm sure both of us having Indian nationalities would be having a little bit of bias towards India, but we'll try to remain as neutral as possible, I hope. And so Prasanna has a great channel as well, guys. Probably take a look at the description below. I would really request you all to subscribe and watch all the videos. He brings a lot of variety in both cricket and football videos. And definitely support both our channels, and it will be great to see because we are expecting more content to come at both our channels, right? So Prasanna, anything to start that you want to talk about the ICC WTC final inaugural one at that, or we should just get to business?
We have to speak because it's been a month since we saw the Indian players take the field, and it's been more than a month actually. Ever since the IPL got postponed and all, we were thinking, oh, what's going to happen? Will IPL still happen? A good thing is it's going to happen in UAE somewhere around September to October.
Right.
But this is one we've been waiting for a long time, and a test championship with a test final, and this test match is, for me, test match is still the greatest form of cricket. Whatever anyone might say. Yes, the T20 is the modern form, but test cricket forever will be the greatest. For 5 days, how much do you have in yourself to push your limits and win your team at test match? That's actually very hard, and
right,
compared to an ODI or a T20. So there was a great commentator once here, Henry Bofield, God rest his soul. He sadly passed away. He once said while he was commentating in a test match, ODI cricket is an exhibition, whereas test cricket is an examination.
Greatly put.
So, exactly. So looking forward to this, looking forward to some good cricket, looking forward to Kohli and his men lift the trophy, and hopefully we can do so.
Absolutely. And guys, just for you guys who don't remember, this test championship is huge. I think it's as big as the World Cup, if not bigger. The reason being that we are actually fighting and competing for this since 2 years. So this started back in July 2019, and after 2 years, after a lot of hard work the team has put in. And in between, if you remember, the rules were changed as well, right? As in there was a pandemic which is still going on, because of which earlier I think there was a point system, and then they finally decided, okay, no, some teams have missed some series, so it'll be like a percentage system. And India were on top on both the systems. So that's something really to be proud of. Of course, the opposition, New Zealand, is something that we cannot deny. They deserve it totally. So, Prasanna, let's get down to the first topic that we are going to discuss.
Yeah, man, come on.
Perfect. Okay, so basically the venue is a very big talking point in the Test Championship final because, as we know, it is a pandemic-struck world still. And in spite of that, what they've decided is for the teams to actually travel to England, which is something which was baffling initially to me, if you really ask me. But this is going to be held at Hampshire Bowl, right? So Hampshire Bowl is basically the same venue where I think the very first series was held last year after the pandemic kind of became substantial, and that is when we noticed that this is a huge plus point because Hampshire Bowl in Southampton actually has an accommodation. So that is the reason why, obviously, in that bio bubble that they are in, this is the safest place and not even Lord for that instance, right? So, Prasanna, what do you have to say? Is there any advantage? I know New Zealand is playing England as we speak. So, is there any advantage or disadvantage to any teams here?
Not really, because Southampton has hosted not many matches in before. Their first Test match was only, I think, in 2011, and since then they were hosted like 5 or 6 Test matches at maximum. And a good thing you mentioned that because the hotel is right next to the stadium, so we saw people the players posting on their Insta social media that the view from the room is just the pitch and what all
Right.
and what else and whatnot. And even last year, I think England West Indies was the first was the first series after the pandemic where the stadium had a hotel next to it, and so that the players could easily go commute and allow no fans to go near them or take pictures with them and whatnot. So I don't. It's slight. I would say maybe because I don't think New Zealand have played a Test match there, if my memory serves right. And India have played both Test matches, 2 Test matches there, and both Test matches we lost. So we have to get one on New Zealand. And given Kohli's first match syndrome, this is only one game. So the toss is going to be very, very crucial here. So if we win the toss, I think we'll probably have to take advantage of the early swing and put them into bat and see how our bowlers like Siraj and the likes of Siraj and I think Bumrah will play obviously, and we have to see who else he will play.
Yeah,
and
we'll get to that. No, definitely. So, no, I totally agree with Prasanna. Sorry to cut you. So what I'm saying is, as far as the players go, yes, definitely we'll get to that. But what I wanted to ask is like, yes, you mentioned correctly, right? The toss is huge in this game, especially being a one-off. Of course, there was a debate that Test Championship final should be a best of 3, considering that in a Test match, draw is always a result possible. But even the reserve day, they did not agree to have it like a playing day. It can go to a playing day only if they lose some time in the first 5 days, right? And that is the conditions that we have agreed to. But toss is crucial because of the fact that Kohli first match and the swing ball is something that yes, India is not so used to it in home conditions. But what I'm asking here is like New Zealand is playing England as we speak, and even then, I think in the second Test match they have actually rested a few players as well. So not only are they getting acclimatized to the conditions, but also getting rest at that venue. Whereas India are quarantining and obviously not kind of preparing the way we want them to, right? So considering that, I think I don't know if you heard Virat Kohli and Ravi Shastri's interview recently. So Virat Kohli, obviously, there's one thing that you talk and one thing that you implement, but he seemed very confident that hey.
I'm not sure why. So I was mentioning that about Kohli and Ravi Shastri speaking that this is as big as the World Cup final, if not bigger. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section. And this will be a massive game for both sides. New Zealand are playing. They will have like a good 4 or 5 days rest because they beat England already. The Test match is already done. They have beaten England quite comfortably despite resting a few players. It's good to see the likes of Devon Conway. It's only second Test match, but he scored a century at large in the first Test match and an 80 in the second match. Even the likes of they rested Boult, but the likes of Boult and Southee. No, they rested Southee. Boult played. He took 4 wickets in the first innings. Matt Henry's played the Test match. He took 3 wickets in the first innings. So it's going to be very interesting to see how Kane Williamson is going to accommodate all 4 of them. I think he's rejoining and joining back because of some electricity issues he has. So let's see. I'm hoping for a great Test match. This promises to be a massive one. We all know that New Zealand can have a good swing bowlers, and obviously Neil Wagner, who can obviously get that bouncer a bit high. And where India lacks, where India struggle, or so to say, is that the swing department. And most of our players, they are prone to make mistakes on the bouncer. So whoever wins the toss, I think they'll want to take advantage of the early swing and put the opposition team into bat first, so that they can get some advantage and probably pick up some early wickets. Because Southampton has only hosted 6 matches before, out of which England have won 3 and drawn 3. They haven't lost. And both Test matches we have played there, we've lost. One we were absolutely hammered, 266 runs loss in 2014. And the other one we lost by 60 runs, chasing a small total of 245. Those are some Test match. I mean, we're chasing 245. We aren't chasing 345 or 445. So those are some chases that you need to grab by the scruff of your neck, and we have to kill off the job and finish the job. So let's see. Hopefully, assuming he will join soon. The pitch and management. The pitch, I don't think is going to be any different from the ones we have seen earlier in England. Early days, they get some early swing, and the reverse swing with the old ball, you don't need to even talk about it. It'll definitely be a classic English wicket, so to say. And New Zealand bowlers, they effectively use swing conditions even in their home ground in New Zealand. That's how they used it to that effect when they absolutely beat India. They beat the skins out of us, let's be totally honest. They totally outclassed us 2-0. We absolutely stood no prayer in both of them Test matches. One we lost by 10 wickets and the other we lost by 7 wickets, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm actually pretty nervous for this, but at the same time, I'm pretty excited. Who will not be excited? There will be fans out in the stadium, and he is back.
Thank you, Prasanna, for handling the situation. It's one of those days that I'm having. And, as I had kind of anticipated, it just happened. But I hope, the discussion went fine. What are you guys discussing about?
I was just saying that whoever wins the toss, what will they look to do? Will they look to bat first? Will they look to bowl first?
Right.
Given the conditions, and New Zealand, they even in their home ground, they use swing to their advantage. That is a swinging wicket, and about our result in New Zealand, which we got absolutely hammered 2-0. We didn't stand a chance. Let's be
I don't want to remember that. Anyway, thanks, Prasanna, again.
They didn't exist. We don't know what we're talking about. Sorry.
Right. And, the reason I'm telling you that is, as I was telling you before I kind of went off and came back, now Virat Kohli and Ravi Shastri have gone on record saying that, hey, if we had thought about conditions and whatnot and whether we have enough practice there or not, we never would have made history in Australia, for example, when we went there and won a second time. And, the only thing that Ravi Shastri and team management talked to the team is about winning, right? And that's something that I believe as fans, we should be kind of their shadow, and hopefully it'll transpire. And another interesting aspect that I want to quickly add here is the crowd, right? So after a long time, there is, I know, limited crowd, but there is crowd. So do you think that'll be in India's favor? Because as we know, Indians are everywhere, especially in England. And I think there are about 2,000 supporters that are possible, to be there.
4,000.
And another 2,000 probably are officials and stuff like that. But it's 2,000 for the supporters, right? So what do you think about that?
It will make a massive difference, albeit not in huge numbers, like we saw when England played New Zealand. I think it was open to full capacity, and even when India played Australia in Australia, it was open to full capacity, and Indians were in. They are always there. They are always supporting a team. They are always giving out, cheering out loud and proud from the first to last. And I'm sure this won't be any different. I have a few friends at the Bharat Army, so I'm pretty sure that they will be there in numbers, cheering the team. And even though it's a small, it might be a small number in comparison to say a 20,000 or a 30,000. It will definitely make a difference. And Kohli, he keeps saying that fans make a difference, and he will definitely look to fan support to give them that extra push. Obviously you don't need any motivation for this one. I mean, why do you need motivation? This game should demand itself.
Yeah, perfect. So because Kohli, as you mentioned, right, he's the person who kind of connects with the fans the most, and so does the team, as a result. So that's a great point, Prasanna. Thanks for that. So now that you have seen the venue and conditions and what kind of advantage or disadvantage will be there, let's move on to the next section. So this is something I'm sure that you guys will be very keen to know because it's been a while. Okay, so I hope there were some memories refreshed there. I'm sure it's been a very long while, but Prasanna, I would like to ask you, right? I know that we have literally dominated. Of course, I've not added the series there in that video against New Zealand because of obviously wanting to get positive vibes first up. So among those 5 series that we have just seen, which is the match rather that you would really pick out on that saying that okay, this was the match which kind of makes sure that we have the mentality to be right there as finalists as well as winners?
Has to be Gabba before test, without any shadow of doubt. I mean, look at the situation where we went in. Kohli had gone home after the first test match, and the third test match we were almost out, and Ravichandran Ashwin and Hanuma Vihari with injuries. I mean, they weren't even fully fit. They were they had a sore hamstring. I think Ashwin got hit on the ribs and he was somehow managing through it. Pujara was getting hit countless times, and I still don't know how he's kind of stood like a rock over there. And so many injuries there in the fourth test match. Third test match we got a draw. Fourth test match we were even if we get a draw, it would be a very good result because we just need to beat England at home, and home we are always the king.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing. So we had so many injuries. We had to bring in debutants. We had to Siraj at that. I think that was only his third test match. His first test match was at Melbourne.
Right.
We brought in T. Natarajan. Shubman Gill was only his third test match as well. So there were many new faces as well, and that was still a team. They were no mugs. They were full strength. Their bowling attack: Mitchell Starc, Hazelwood, Cummins, Nathan Lyon, and even their batting. They had Warner, they had Smith, they had Labuschagne, and you had all these characters. And so to beat Australia in a venue that they hadn't lost for 32 years, and that was absolutely mad. And we were down in the first innings, and credit to the likes of Shardul Thakur and Washington Sundar, they got some very crucial 50s.
Yeah.
I mean, without that, where would our score been? And our chase in the second innings, my God.
See, that is where I'd like to comment, right? Because that chase is something that, like, I actually tweeted out saying that this has been probably the best win of India ever, and that includes World Cups. Because I've seen India chasing and crumbling under pressure. Like you said, the first test, what happened, right? The second innings, something which is a big question mark of India, traditionally. But I think the big turning point, I think the one performance that I have to really, definitely commend is, and I'm sure you'll agree, is Rishabh Pant, right? Rishabh Pant is just the mentality that he brings, like, in a test match on the fifth day, playing like, paddle sweep to a guy like Mitchell Starc. That kind of tells you what he's made of, especially when we are chasing and he's just having what? Shardul Thakur and, Washington Sundar at the other end. And that is where I think the mentality changed. And then from that point onward, that partnership, the previous test match obviously helped between Ashwin and Vihari, but I think Pant was the main difference maker for me. And I hope that, Pant and the company that he was in definitely perform again. Now, why I'm talking about that is because, yes, we are not spoken about the New Zealand series, and New Zealand are themselves playing recently, right? So now let's go to the next section and talk about New Zealand as to what kind of opposition players are there, what kind of matchups we'll have, right? So just give me a second while we go to the next section. Okay, so basically, I think that short video kind of told the favorites in terms of the top players of New Zealand that I'm looking at. Prasanna, any particular players that you feel that we should be wary about?
Tim Southee, obviously. Again, his head-to-head record against Virat Kohli. Southee has got Virat Kohli out 10 times in international cricket.
Wow.
That's absolutely staggering.
Yeah.
I mean, you hear these things that matchups do make a difference, and this makes a big difference. I mean, we know how Tim Southee likes to dwell on swing. Swing is his forte, and he will make heavy use of it against the likes of Virat Kohli. And another matchup I'm looking forward to is, albeit it won't spin much, is Ashwin versus Williamson.
Yeah.
Ravichandran Ashwin has got Williamson in the past, and I remember in one series, albeit it was in India, both test matches he played, he got him out all 4 times. That is something that is going to be very interesting to see. And Ashwin, we all know the experience he brings. He is a very seasoned, experienced campaigner. He's also played county cricket in England, so that will be a huge advantage to him. Williamson, he sat out for the second test match, citing a bad elbow or something.
Injury.
Yeah, elbow injury. Given 4 or 5 days, will he recover in time for the World Test Championship is yet to be seen.
He will. Come on, like even a 60% Williamson cannot miss a WTC final. That's just my opinion, right? Because like you said rightly, Williamson is probably the key batsman for them, and Ashwin, like, don't forget, Ashwin is not there in the one-day scheme of things. So for him, this kind of becomes the biggest game of his career, at least in the latter stages. I don't think there'll be a bigger game that Ashwin will probably have. Obviously, if India gets to the next Test Championship final, that's another thing. But as of now, this is probably the biggest game, and he's, definitely Test cricket is his first love, as he always says. So for him, it's huge. I think another matchup that I would like to also point out, again, is kind of obvious from New Zealand's perspective. It's Boult. Boult is a class bowler. I think he's right among the very top. Somehow, for some reasons, he's not spoken of in that regard by many. Of course, some of us, really commend his experience. So I think Boult along with Rohit Sharma, because Rohit Sharma, although when Rohit Sharma hasn't played, I think it was the New Zealand series, right? In the test games, he wasn't there, and New Zealand, we did not get great starts. But the fact being that he hasn't played in swinging conditions a lot, and that's something that with Boult being there, I'm sure that will be an interesting matchup, and whoever wins there, along with the matchup that you said, I think will probably come out winners, right? So great points there, Prasanna. Should we speak about the players and go to the next section?
Yeah, it's all about the players after all.
Yes, yes. Okay, so basically it is the time of prediction time, as they say. So by prediction time, definitely the players are very important first, like we were talking, right? Obviously, we being Indian nationality people, we will be biased, and let's look at India team first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. Just give me a second. Let's see if we can probably do it on the screen. That'll be great. Okay, I hope it's visible, Prasanna.
Yeah.
So this is the squad that we have for India. I know that there is a level of consistency that Virat Kohli has probably started kind of playing with, but I'll probably start the other way around, right? Now we've already spoken about Hanuma Vihari, Washington Sundar, and I think one player we did not really talk about much is Axar Patel. Now Axar Patel dominated against England, right? As in domination is probably an understatement as well. And you already mentioned Siraj is a great swing bowler, right? And Shardul Thakur has played already match-winning innings and been pretty handy with the ball. So now these are probably fringe players, but for a big final, would you want to play players who are in form or go with basically the experience?
I would kind of side with experience because they have, what it is to play on the big occasion. There is no disrespect to the players who have just come in and perform well, but I think they'll probably get a bigger chance when this is the same squad for India-England series as well, and there we have like 5 test matches, so I think they will get ample opportunity there. With all due respect to all of them, it's good that we have a big squad. We have a good squad that we can rely on in case of any injuries or something, because you can never rule out injuries.
Oh, yes, 20 people, right? If I'm not wrong, even Rahul and Ridhiman Saha have been gotten. So that's.
I don't think so.
As in, they're not in time, but I think that was the last request from the Indian board. But yes, obviously, that means that Rishabh Pant will obviously be keeping, if I'm not wrong. So he's a given, right?
Yeah.
But in terms of opening, Mayank Agarwal has had probably the most impact, along with Rohit Sharma, to basically give us the scores that we got and got us to this final. So I know Shubman Gill is not in form either. So would you go with Mayank because he's an experienced guy, as you said?
I mean, it's a tough one. Rohit Sharma is a definite starter.
Yeah,
because of his experience.
Yes.
It will be between Agarwal and Gill. And Gill, the problem is he has given good starts. We all know he's a class player. He's so easy on the eye. And I rate Shubman Gill very highly. Ever since I saw him in the Under-19 World Cup, I knew that this guy was going to make it big. And we're seeing it now. The problem is he's making starts, but he's not converting them starts into big scores. Like we saw at the Gabba test, he scored 91. He could have easily made a century if he had restricted himself a bit. I'm not saying played fully defensive, but he kind of went for against Netherlands, he kind of went for a drive and he got caught at slip.
Right.
So that's the thing. So
yeah, so I'm actually tending to go with Mayank. I'll tell you the reason why, because like you said earlier as well, that
because you're from Karnataka.
To be very honest, I kind of know Mayank's family, right? But let's not go there. But having said that, Mayank Agarwal, he's had a break of a couple of months now, and he's the kind of guy who's really deep on penance and basically goes on meditation, things like that. Not anything against Shubman Gill, but the fact that they've had a couple of months to actually come back to that mindset. So I believe that form that he probably lost in the England series, he probably can get it back. And the fact that it's in England, I know Shubman Gill has toured England probably as a youngster, but not with the main team. So that's where I would be, tending towards Mayank, and he kind of deserves it because of the fact that those double centuries that he's capable of, right? Shubman Gill, like you said, he doesn't convert. So I'm tending towards Mayank. Shall we go with him?
Yeah, probably Rohit and Mayank opening.
Yeah, I think number 3 is Pujara without a shadow of a doubt.
And I think all three, Pujara, Kohli, and Rahane will play.
Correct. All 3 will play. And Rahane, a lot of people are speculating that he's not in form. Come on, like the Australian tour, he was probably the main guy for me. So I agree with you there, right? Totally.
And he performs well overseas, so.
Oh, absolutely right. And number 6 would be Rishabh Pant, as we spoke. And all rounders, again, between Axar and Jadeja, I think only one place. Whom would you go for?
Jadeja.
And I think England
there is no doubt that he will definitely play. The reason he didn't play is he was coming back from an injury, and I think it's from the Australia series where he pulled a hamstring and he was coming back and all. But when Jadeja is not on the field, you see something missing.
Absolutely. And the fact that in England, especially like I was saying, that he has that thing for England, right? He's performed brilliantly. I know it was like a different format, but in the past in England, he's been the rock star when it comes to Indian cricket, right? In fact, like in England, I think if I'm not wrong, Nasir Hussain and the greats have told that Jadeja is probably the best all-rounder ever in cricket, and that's a great statement in itself. So that tells you how much England respects him. And Ashwin, I think he walks into the team. And among the bowlers,
so how many is that? Rohit, Mayank, Pujara, Kohli, Rahane, Ashwin, Jadeja. That's 7 already.
No, I think number 6 was Pant, number 7 was Jadeja, number 8 was Ashwin, right?
Okay, so so the remaining 3.
Yeah, and that's the key. As in, obviously, Bumrah picks himself. The other 2, would you go for Ishant and Shami, or would you bring in Siraj?
Bumrah, Ishant, and Siraj probably, because
wow, interesting.
I think it'll be a toss up between Siraj and Shami, if I'm being totally honest.
Okay, like I know Siraj probably swings the ball more, but the fact that Shami gets the reverse probably works in his favor. Assuming that, I know in England it's not much reverse, but assuming that if New Zealand bat last, that's where Shami probably is more effective, and the experience factor. Don't you think so?
Definitely. And second inning Shami, he's not called that without reason, and he comes on the second innings, he just gets a wicket with his reverse swing and turns the game around totally. That's what we need. Someone when the situation is going tough and when they are getting a good partnership and you need wickets, Shami is the person for you. He can break that partnership. So it's so hard. I mean, you obviously don't want to leave out anyone because they are excellent players, but it'll be a toss-up between Shami and Siraj, if I'm being totally honest, because Bumrah will play because I feel he is a number 1 bowler. Ishant Sharma will obviously play. He has been a consistent performer overseas. Whenever he goes, he picks up wickets, and he obviously has a swing factor in him. Siraj has that early swing, but reverse swing, he will definitely make a big impact. But I feel it will be a toss-up between Siraj and Shami.
Yeah. So guys, comment below. What do you feel is the best 11? Right? We'll probably put in our teams as well below. So take a look and comment on that. Let's quickly touch upon New Zealand as well. We don't want to be too biased towards India. So let's talk about New Zealand, right? So obviously New Zealand team, they're already playing in England. I think the first test match what they played, I probably would say that they would play with the same 11, or would you play a Santner? What is your call?
I think they'll probably go with the same 11, and obviously who will they bring in for? I think they'll probably rest Matt Henry and bring back Tim Southee, because they will go with Southee, Wagner, Boult, and Kyle Jamieson.
See, that's the key, right? So Jamieson, so for me, I would actually not play Santner and play in Wagner and play with 4 fast bowlers, or they can probably drop De Grandhomme and play Santner, because he's the all-rounder as well, right? So De Grandhomme but swings the ball in those conditions. So I think it probably is depending on the conditions on the day of 18th. That's what we will call. So again, I'm going to put the same 11 as the first test match below, guys. Of course, with Wagner playing instead of Santner, assuming that the conditions will be, definitely it'll be a green top, right? That's what I'm assuming. So otherwise, comment below and let's see, what's in store. So quickly predictions, Prasanna, obviously being an Indian, what do you think? We can pull it off?
Yeah, I think we have the nerve. We have shown that in recent times that we have the nerve to get it over the finishing line, because most test matches we are guilty of throwing away positions where we were supposed to win.
Right.
I keep throwing back to two test matches in England where we were chasing small or medium size totals and we couldn't put them over the line. We were chasing like 190, 200 ones and we flopped that. We were chasing 214 at best, and in Southampton in 2018 we flopped that as well. And that's the thing. So it's whether when we lose a wicket we should not collapse, and we should just keep our heads focused and still for the whole game, the whole 5 days, because you cannot afford to slack against a good New Zealand side.
Absolutely.
And I think if we bat first, then negotiate off the early swing, and I think the first innings lead will be very, very crucial. A minimum lead of 50 or 100 will definitely come into play, because second innings, you don't often see high scores in them second innings, and batting in the fourth innings is never going to be easy. If you set a target above 200, 250, you can as well say bye bye, thank you very much.
That's a good point, definitely. I agree with you there. And having said that, like obviously, it comes down to the toss. So in terms of predictions, like I would say, like India has lost a lot of finals. I know different formats, but India has lost a lot of finals recently, and this is like the make or break for India. And I'm hoping and praying and predicting as well for India and Ravi Shastri and management to instill in the minds and go in with a shout. And our bowlers is something that can win the match after a long time, and we should probably win it this time, Prasanna. So Prasanna, thanks a lot. It has been a great discussion. I know that you have to go, and we'll probably continue our conversations during the match, even sometime hopefully, or after the match, and we'll come back, revisit our predictions, right?
Yeah, man, come on, always.
Right. Perfect. And guys, as I said, smash that like button, press the subscribe button, not only to RCBian Chelsea Fan TV, but to Prasanna's channel as well. Take a look, great content there. And Prasanna, thank you. Have a good one. Guys, all of you stay safe. Any words, Prasanna, from you?
Everyone, we are still in the middle of the pandemic, so stay home and stay safe, and if possible, get vaccinated.
Perfect. Thank you, and sayonara, guys.